up guys, this is M00 Photo and today I'm going to take you guys through an editing process. So this is my editing workflow. I edit with Affinity Photo and this is my primary editing software. There are many out there. You have Photoshop, you have GIMP and such, but I prefer Affinity Photo because it makes my editing process a lot easier. That being said, today we're going to do some ghost mannequin editing. So we're going to focus on a hat that I've taken from a client a little while back, and I'll take you guys through the process on how I do it. There is no specific way of doing this, so do it how it works for you. Okay, so we're gonna go in here, we're gonna open an image, and like I said, I've already taken the images, so I'm just gonna go here and pick one of these and then open it on Affinity Photo. Just go on full screen. By the way, I'm editing this off of an M1 MacBook Pro. It's the best model. I wish I can't, I kind of wish I invested on the 16 gig model, but this is gonna be my on-the-go editing computer anyway. So I'm probably going to get the Mac Mini M1X once that comes out, whichever one that'll be. So the first thing that I do, I go down here on my profiles. I change this to a ROM RGB. This just gives you a very it gives you a better way of dealing with colors. That's pretty much the science behind it. You can research more about that if you're really interested in the deep meaning behind it. But that's pretty much all I know about it. So I go to my shadow and highlights. I reduce this a little bit, so I'm gonna bring it to about 25 to 30%. I think that's pretty good as it is. And then we're gonna go to vibrance. Just bring it to about 5%. I always leave my vibrance at about 5%. That never fails me. We're gonna go to the clarity. Bring it to 5%. Here I'm just gonna add a 0.1, and then I'm gonna go to my black point at 2%. And then add another 0.1% here just to equalize. This just makes the blacks pop out a little more on the hat, as you can see here. Then I'm gonna go to my details. On the detail refinement, I'm just gonna click the detail refinement, bring the radius all the way up, and then for the amount, I'm just gonna make it 2%. I think that's plenty. Don't mess with the luminance. Luminance is basically used, if you want to kind of smoothen skin and whatnot a little bit. I only use that when I'm dealing with portraits, and even that I don't like messing with it. So you go to develop, and in here, before you do anything with your photo, always remember to duplicate that layer, because once you mess with that layer, you may not be able to go back to it and fix things that you do wrong in the process of your editing. So always make sure that you have a backup layer, and that's why you just press Command J to duplicate that, and now we have our duplicate layer. So before I do anything, I'm just gonna go down here to my tools, and I'm just gonna grab this in painting brush tool. So in here, by the way, I use a stylus which comes from a Wacom. I can't remember the series, but it's basically this little guy right here, and it works wonders. So invest a little bit of money on it. It makes your life a lot easier than dealing with a mouse to edit. So in here, I'm just gonna reduce the radius of the brush a little bit and just kind of paint this. See these blemishes and imperfections? This is actually amazing. It gets rid of that. All right. So I like to blow into my image a little tight and just see this. So we're just gonna try to do this. I'm not too concerned about those little imperfections outside the hat, as we're not gonna mess with that. That'll be gone. So we don't really care about that. So I'm just trying to make sure the edit, when I'm trying to extract this from the background, it's gonna be a very smooth extraction. So I'd say that's actually fairly really nice. Okay, I guess we could just fix this up here a little bit, and that's as far as I would go. I wouldn't go too crazy on it. And now the next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna go to the magic selection tool, selection brush. So you can select it by going to W, or you can just click on it, however you prefer, and then just reduce your zoom out a little bit on your image. And here we're gonna increase the size of our brush a little bit, or the radius, however you'd like to say it. And then I'm just gonna go in here and just make sure I get it as nice selection as possible. It doesn't have to look perfect, as you know. Uh, we're gonna work on it to make it look a lot nicer. But for right now, we're just getting like a general selection of the hat. So we're not too concerned about it, looking perfect at the moment. So yeah, now we can zoom in. So in here, if you want to close in, just make sure you hold selection, and then just go from the outside in, and that's just gonna push it inwards. If you don't want it to go too deep in, just make sure you reduce the size of your radius, the size of the brush, and just go to it. All right, see that? So this process right here takes a little bit of time, so I'm going to speed it up a little bit, so I'm not wasting your time looking at this all day. So I think that's really good. I really think that's super awesome. So now the only thing we have to do, we just have to go to refine up here, refine, and it's gonna bring you this mask. So what I usually do, because right now it's black on red, or should I say, dark army green, olive green, or army green, however you want to say it, to red, which is kind of a little difficult to see the edges. So what I do, I just go in preview, and then I turn that to a white matte. And now you can really see the edges because they pop out of that white. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to select the foreground, and then just paint, just a slight paint up from the inside, just to make sure those edges are like very well selected, because it makes it look a lot more professional when everything looks sharp and nice. And see, that was a little too much, so Command Z to get rid of that, so we can. That's super awesome. So the wider your radius, the more detail from the background your brush will capture. So just get like very, if you just want to barely capture the edge, just reduce your radius a little bit, and you'll be fine. And you'll see it. It's just a question of getting in there and trying what works best for you. There is no specific way. It's like photography. The way I look at it, to me, it's in the photographer basically dictates how he wants to tell the story, and so you expose what you feel is important for you, what you feel the client will like, because at the end of the day, our job is to make sure we please the client. And by the way, I've already edited this, but I'm just going through the motion with you guys so you can see all the ins and outs on how to do this. And I can tell you this much, my client was really happy, with the outcome, with the end product. So, and that's what we aim for. I really don't care much about anything else. My main concern is to make sure my client is happy and satisfied, with what he's paying for. Because at the end of the day, that's the most important thing. So you should really focus in making sure that whatever your client is getting is exactly what he wants. Because guess what? customer service is our main priority. All right. Unless you're doing this for a hobby, that's a totally different story. But if someone is paying you to do this, it's crucial that you pour your soul on your craft to make sure that the client is satisfied, and that's why we do all of this. So you can see the hat like came out really nice. The edges are sharp, everything looks natural, and that's what we were aiming for. So what we're gonna do next, we're just gonna I like to bring the border width a little bit deep, like 1%. I don't like going more than 1%. So for the feather, I just like to feather it to about 0.1 pixel. So don't use these errors, because once you start using those, like look at this, it'll bring you to increments of 1%. See that? And that can be a little too much sometimes. So I like to either just drag this or click in and then put your numbers in. That's a lot easier that way. So from here on, we're gonna go to output, and I like to bring it out as a new layer. You can do new layer with mask. Sometimes it's better to do a new layer with mask, but I prefer just doing a new layer because then it just brings my image by itself and I don't have to worry about anything else around it. So it's clean. I can literally, put any type of background I would like on that. So what I'm going to do next, we're going here and create a pixel layer. So we got our pixel layer created, and we have our main forward color, but our front forward color is white. So I think a white, or maybe a white and greenish, would kind of look really nice on that. Definitely not a pink color though. So I like to go to the gradient tool, and then I'm gonna select in here. So right now I have it on HSL sliders. This, when you open it for the first time, it's going to be on RGB sliders, if I remember right. So I bring it on HSL sliders because from here I can change it to however I want. So let's say we're just gonna go here, make it pure white, and then I'm just gonna drag this to about right there, and now I can just select right here. See this? So we have that army green, not fully white. See that? So that's exactly what I was looking for. So I'm just gonna go here. I have my color already, and I'm just going to drag it and put it below the hat, and boom, there we go. The hat is pretty much done. That's all we wanted. Now you can go ahead and make it look fancy and whatnot. There is nothing wrong with that if you want to make your image look extra fancy. But that's pretty much the process. So from here on, you can just go to your file and export it. All right, you can export it and select what format you want it to export. So that wraps pretty much the tutorial. I hope you like it. I hope this taught you something, and if you did, please go ahead and like the video right down there and subscribe, and we have more to come. The special thing about this channel is that it does not only focus on tutorials, but it'll teach you things. It'll show you places that we get to visit, places we get to travel for work and all of that. So please, please, please go ahead and show us some love, and more tutorials follow. Thank you very much, and until the next time.